In a rain-lashed London, a man stood at a bus stop with an umbrella that had given up on life. It was less of a shield and more of a decorative water feature. He looked like a man who had recently lost a fight with a power shower, yet he remained perfectly composed. He turned to a lady nearby, whose hat now resembled a collapsed souffle. "Bit damp, isn't it?" he remarked. "This is British for, we are currently living in an aquarium." She nodded, water cascading off her nose like a miniature waterfall. "Refreshing," she replied. "I was worried it might be too dusty today," she added, wringing out a glove that had absorbed half the Thames. "The moisture is quite good for the complexion." They shared a soggy silence, a communal bond formed by the mutual refusal to admit they were freezing. Suddenly, a red bus tore through a puddle with the force of a tidal wave. A wall of muddy water engulfed them both. The man didn't flinch. He merely wiped a stray piece of grit from his cheek. "Splendid," he muttered. "I've been meaning to visit a water park." The woman checked her watch, which was now a tiny gold-plated fish tank. "At least we've saved on the car wash," she noted. "Efficiency is everything." They stood like two drenched statues, practitioners of the national art of pretending that everything is fine. Humans must treat and care for their irony. It is the only thing that keeps them dry. Stewardship of one's dignity requires a firm grip on a broken brolly and a refusal to acknowledge the puddle in your shoe. It is a psychological masterpiece of social engineering. The history of Britain is just people standing in fields getting rained on and saying could be worse. This specialized stubbornness prevents mass migration to the sun. It is a social hardware designed to withstand a climate that is permanently set to gray. Nature facts suggest a British person is 80% tea and 20% mild annoyance. This balance allows them to survive where the sky is the color of a wet pigeon for 9 months. It is a triumph of thermal management and a total disregard for the concept of blue skies. Engineering comparisons liken the British social engine to a vintage kettle. It makes a loud whistling noise, requires constant recharging with biscuits, and operates best under pressure. It is built to last, provided you don't mind a bit of steam and a slow start. Caring for this culture requires a steady supply of scones and a pact never to speak on the train. Even during the apocalypse, a polite cough and a comment on the dreadful delays is the only valid response. One must maintain standards even when the world ends. The bus finally arrived, smelling of damp wool and old coins. He stepped aside for the lady, his shoes making a sound like a drowning duck. "After you," he bowed. "I wouldn't want to rush. I was just starting to enjoy the bracing atmosphere. It's very revitalizing." He boarded and sat down, leaving a localized lake on the seat. The bus heaved forward, its wipers screeching a rhythmic song of struggle. He stared out the window at the gray blur of the city, feeling a strange sense of victory over the elements. Every splash is a lesson in resilience. We often fear the storm, but the British prove that with enough sarcasm, you can handle any deluge. It is a reminder that strength isn't about having a better umbrella. It's about having a better sense of the ridiculous. Every queue is a laboratory of patience. By respecting the quiet work of these soggy citizens, we see the labor involved in social harmony. It is a partnership between the clouds, the tea, and the refusal to let a little bit of North Atlantic weather ruin the day. Let this afternoon remind you of the power of the upper lip. You don't need sun to be happy. You just need a bit of dry wit and a stubborn heart. Mastery of life is about finding the humor when the bus hits the puddle and your socks become heavy sponges. Take care of your inner irony hardware. As we look toward 2026, remember that a bit of wit is the best insulation against life's storms. Respect the rain, protect your tea, and never forget to complain that the bus was exactly 3 minutes late.